Hello everyone, welcome back to another Pick-A-Card reading. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I'd love for you to join and subscribe because we do some interesting readings here with the amazing Lenormand deck. Now, for this Pick-A-Card reading, I would like us to focus on what is the key for you for financial and career success. So we're going to do 5 different readings. I'm going to use one deck, but I'm going to draw 5 different layouts. And we're going to start with the Brandberg, the Teal, and then we're going to move on to the Serpentine, the Rose Quartz, and then finally we're going to wrap up with the Carnelian. So take a minute here to think about which stone and which associated reading you would like to do for this question here about your key to financial and career success. So take a few seconds, and if you want to pause the video, feel free to do that. All right, let's start with the Brandberg group. I am going to do a 9-card portrait for the 9-card group. And remember, we are looking into the key, the secret for your financial and career success. I'm going to shuffle the deck and I'm going to fan the cards. All right, Brandberg group. This is an interesting layout. What I am seeing, what I am picking up from just looking at the overview of this 9-card portrait is that there are some opportunities or involvements that you need to turn down in order to move into the ones that actually matter for you. So I'm seeing the fox and moon, especially next to the lily card, and I am seeing the coffin on the other side of the anchor. And so it's really my impression that you've been accepting possibly smaller jobs, possibly smaller involvements and opportunities. And the reason I say smaller ones is because of the dog right in the middle of your portrait. So the dog is the card of being junior. It is the younger employee, the less experienced one. And so we see it, it's right in the middle of your portrait here. And when we see it surrounded by these suggestions, then it can mean, Brandberg group, that you have been accepting smaller jobs. And so it's time to mature. And this is also an indication brought by the lily. So it's really time to grow up to the next level. And I think this is going to be the master key for you to unlock your potential and to grow up to the next level that will attract to you this financial and career success. So let's get into the different lines of this portrait. We start off with the first diagonal, and at the very top, we've got the clouds. Now, the clouds here covers you. It is about what's going on with you, and the clouds is a bit of a challenging card. It is a card that is very psychological in nature. And we do see also that there is a bit of challenge here in the sense that you know that you're possibly stuck at this level and it frustrates you, and you're possibly in a place where you're not so sure what to do in order to attract more abundance, more career success. Well, as we said, one of the master keys is to really get ready to grow up to the next level and to move on to bigger projects, bigger responsibilities, and to be more responsible with money, possibly, because the more responsible with money you are, the more you can attract it. So in the first diagonal, we've got the clouds, the dog, and the lily. And like we said, the dog is the card of the junior employee, of the younger employee. And so when we have the clouds next to it, we can see that you're not really feeling where you are right now. You know that you're not in the best place that you can be. And what's nice is that the lily is the card of career. So it's really nice to see it in the spread. And the dog and lily has to do with your longer term goals, your longer term career. And so the clouds being the cards of thought and thinking, this is definitely an invitation for you to really think about your longer term career plan. And I would say to get serious about it, because you want to go to the next level. So this isn't just about, deciding, I'm going to grow now. Well, how are you going to do that? Do you have skills that you need to acquire? Are there people that you need to network with? Do you need to become a more attractive person? and so on. There are many considerations that could come into play for you. But definitely it is the starting point. It is the starting point of thinking about your long-term career goals in order to grow to the ambitions that you have in mind. So it's time to revisit these goals. Now the second diagonal is the fox, dog, and coffin. Now this is powerful. So the coffin is the card of endings, and the fox is a tricky card. Because this is in the context of money and career, next to the dog, we are looking at, again, the idea of a junior employee. And when we see the coffin on the other side of this, then, like we said at the outset, this has to do with no longer settling for smaller jobs, smaller responsibilities. It's really about being ready to grow up to the next level. You may need to actively decide to end a certain involvement in order to ring in another opportunity. Now, I'm not saying what order you do this in. This is going to depend on your specifics, but the idea is really, how do I say, very psychological in nature. It's really an inside job where you grow inside and you become no longer really associated with the smaller jobs or the ones that you'd been doing so far. You want to now move up to the next level. Now, another way to read this line, and I don't want to rule it out, is some relationships with colleagues, possibly your circle, your professional circle, your circle of people that you associate with for maybe learning about finance or learning about money and becoming financially literate or financially empowered. It could be that you are in the wrong group, or that the group that you're in is limiting your potential. You know how they say you are like the 5 people you hang out with? So that's a good piece of wisdom to keep in mind when you're observing questions like these, like where am I in life? Where do I want to go? And so you start examining the different aspects of your life, including relationships, because relationships are really powerful on our soul and our psyche and our growth. So this could be a time when you look at everything really that affects your work environment, your work situation, and your financial prosperity. And if you're part of a group that is somewhat limiting, then this is definitely a good time to revisit. And these are big questions. These are important things to look at. We have the clouds, garden, and fox. Again, this is very similar to what we suggested with the second diagonal. The clouds is a challenging card, and when it's next to the garden and fox, it has to do with a tricky environment. So this could be an environment where people are not particularly honest. It could be a gossipy type of environment. There could be some competition and people playing to win sort of situation. At the same time, I have to say that perhaps you weren't really able to play it right so far, so to speak. And the fox is a clever card. I mean, it focuses you on your self-interest, on your own goals. And, you know, because of the dog right in the middle, and you know, the dog is also a card of loyalty and somewhat servitude, you can say, to a certain extent. So I have to wonder if maybe you'd been too giving on the job, you know, where people know that you're just going to help out, or people know that you're just going to do. Well, that's great, but you know what? Sometimes it's actually limiting, because you can come across as this person who is just, you know, who doesn't have these strong boundaries. And people tend to respect people with strong boundaries, right? Because having strong boundaries has to do with a higher level of responsibilities, right? And it also has to do with stature. So I have to wonder if this might not also be something you want to look at. And I think these are really good insights that we're getting from this portrait. So this is what could be at play in this column here. Another thing that we can look at is the idea of networking and this environment, the group that surrounds you, like we just said. And we're going to see that this T crosses the central row here, which has very good messages in terms of your opportunities, but also relationships that could help out, you know, a new circle that is more empowering for you. So this too can be at play, and because of the challenging clouds here, slightly challenging, you want to look at, well, who do you surround yourself with? This network of people possibly that you can tap into for the next stage of your career and your financial prosperity. So a very positive and important message, I would say. Now, moving on to the middle column here, another important message comes through. We've got the anchor, dog, and moon. So what I'm seeing through this line is because of the anchor, you want to stay. So I'm not saying, and really this, nowhere in this portrait is it saying that you need to leave your job or anything like that. That's not really what we're talking about. We're talking more about your inner growth and your sense of self-importance. You know, it's much more psychological and spiritual in character, this portrait. So the anchor, dog, and moon has to do with you staying and evolving. So the moon has to do with evolution in this context and the idea of growing, and it is also a gradual card, you know, because of the moon phases. It's not a sudden card like the scythe. So we're not looking at any radical changes that you're making at this time. Instead, we're looking at you evolving and you growing in your sense of self-centeredness thanks to the anchor. So it's also about confidence, your sense of self, your sense of self-confidence. And the moon is a gentle card, and it can suggest a sense of diplomacy, you know, of being more refined with people on the job, in your career and your finances in general. So this is definitely a phase of evolution into the next phase. Now, what we're seeing in the right column here is another very positive message. We've got the coffin, clover, and lily. So the clover is an all-around success card. And with the lily, we are definitely looking at positive developments in the future, in time, because the coffin is a card that takes time. So the message here overall from the portrait is that you are in a position to attract positive career experiences, financial prosperity, but the rest of the portrait is pointing to quite a bit of inner work, I would say, before you achieve that. And so the coffin here invites you to really be patient and recognize that this is not something that you're going to achieve overnight, and that there are prerequisites for you before you can attract this level of prosperity that is definitely in your cards, just a matter of time. So the coffin invites you to be patient and to allow for things to mature. And this is what we saw in the middle column, but what is really key is to become aware of this. Really, the clouds being your first card, the clouds being all about the mind and thinking. You want to really go within and to get a sense of, you know, how you can grow, how you've been keeping yourself in a smaller level, so to speak, you know, how you'd been always the employee who's just always willing to do things for everyone. Well, you want to change that. You want to grow up and out of this. And I think this is a really positive turning point for you. If you embrace that, if you start thinking about how you can mature on the job to attract this bigger responsibility, the greater financial responsibility and financial prosperity that comes with it, then you are in for some success. So overall, I think this is a really powerful portrait. I love that it is so anchored both in spirituality and the psychology of growth and evolution, as well as it's so real, you know, it's so tangible. We see these situations in our work and our financial situations often. So let me know what you make of it. I hope this resonates. I hope you will start thinking about these patterns that you might have had, you know, what you can do to attract yourself bigger responsibilities, and to really allow yourself to grow, to really be willing to grow and to become the next level adult in your career, in your financial prosperity. A really powerful portrait. I love it. I'm looking forward to your comments, and be sure to look at the links. I have plenty for you to look into for Lenormand to learn and to take advantage of. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to our next Pick-A-Card reading together. All right, Teal group, here we are with your reading. We are going to do a large hourglass for your reading. And remember, we are looking into your keys, the secret for you for your financial and career success. So for this large hourglass, I am going to deal the cards. I have shuffled them thoroughly before starting. I'm just running a few shuffles more. Here we go. All right, now this is an interesting set of cards. There's plenty going on here, so we're going to take it in turn. This is a large hourglass, so we've got 3 cards in the center. We have 3 mini portraits here and 8 columns, 2 rows, of course. So there's plenty going on here. I am looking at some deeper changes for you, an ending, and really a willingness to be adventurous, so that you can take your financial and career prosperity to the next level. So I want to immediately get into the different lines because there are so many different cards here. It makes more sense to get into the details and then build a picture than to start with an overall picture and get into the details. So starting with the central line, we've got the mouse, coffin, and ship. Now clearly the mouse and coffin is pointing to something that had been dragging. This is a stressful situation, an unhappy one, and there is a general lack of enthusiasm that we're seeing here for you. And the coffin being right in the center of your entire hourglass, this is really pointing to an ending. So whatever it is you've been doing, let's be honest, this is not working. Okay, something that you had been doing or a situation that you'd been in is not working. And this is what needs to be wrapped up first before you can set sail into a new adventure. And we're going to see that you have some pretty positive cards coming up here, but there is quite a bit of groundwork that needs to be done in the earlier phases of the hourglass. So again, mouse, coffin, ship has to do with something that you've been doing that is not working, that needs to end in order for you to set sail into a new chapter. And you know, I'm really happy to see the ship on the other side of the coffin, because it's like it's a progression in time, right? You end the situation and then you set sail. It's not like there is the ship before these 2 cards, which would mean some kind of a dead end that we don't really have an answer to at this point. Instead, we see the ship on the other side of the coffin. So this is really encouraging that you are in for a new chapter and you are in for a new adventure if you are willing to put this unhelpful situation to an end. Now, what's really nice is that the ship is also a card of prosperity. The ship has to do with returns on investments. It has to do with selling, trading, import, export, lots of commercial activities that are associated with prosperity. So it is definitely in your cards. It's just doing the groundwork. Now let's move to the rows. We've got the lily, book, clouds, and heart. I'm so happy to see the lily in the cards. It is so aligned with the topic that we're asking about. The lily is about career, long-term goals. It has to do with growth and maturity. It has to do even as far as retirement. So this is really putting the whole picture here on the table for us. And then we've got the book and clouds and the heart. Now here is a very important message in the context of money and career. My friend, you need to be looking at what makes you happy. You don't really know yet what makes you happy. What are the things that turn you on, that you're passionate about, and that you can marry with your financial and work career? So you have some thinking to do. You really need to go within and to search yourself and your soul and to think about what is it that's making you unhappy right now, and what do you think will make you happy. This is a master key for you. You know how they say, do what you love and the money will come? I like that saying. I have some reservations about it. I'm not going to say that you can run off and just do anything that you love and then the money will come. No, I don't think that's realistic. But I do think there is a very important message in it, and that's the idea that to be successful at anything, you're going to need to stick with it long enough to start seeing success. So if you're going to be sticking with it that long and you're going to be doing it day in, day out, then it needs to be something that you enjoy, at least to some extent. And so this is what we're looking at here. We're looking at what makes you happy. Start by thinking about what doesn't make you happy, because this is very key in the central line. And then from there, start to bridge yourself into what makes you happy. Slowly or step by step, discover, think about what makes you happy. This is key. Now, another thing that's coming through this line is the lily and book. The lily and book has to do with education longer term education, and personal development. So maybe you are lacking in skills. Maybe you have gaps in your knowledge. Maybe the way you're going to redirect yourself is going to require some knowledge. I'm not saying you have to go enroll in a course, although you might, and that could prove to be really fun. But you might want to read, research, possibly talk to people, and we're going to see that the people element comes into play next. So it is really key for you to understand where you're stuck, what's not making you happy, and what you think will turn that around. What you think are the things that will make you happy. That is the key. Moving on to the bottom line, we've got the bird, rider, garden, and letter. So the garden is a people card. It has to do with community, society, your network, and the bird and rider and letter are communication cards. So you can see here that this is a line that is very strongly focused on communication and interaction with others. So I have to ask you, do you have a problem communicating with people on the job or for your financial prosperity? Do you feel like people take advantage of you and you don't have strong boundaries? Do you feel that you're in the wrong group of people? All of these can come into play for you at this stage, and these can carry some important keys for you to turn the situation around so you can set sail into a more prosperous and a more fulfilling career. Communication is really key. It is really, really key for you. And this can involve things like marketing, networking, doing things out in the public. Maybe you are looking into doing something that you can publish. Maybe this is something that you do online or in your community. Communication is really key, and it could be really important for you as you turn the situation around. Another more simple way to look at the line is about networking and talking to others. So you've come to an understanding about what you want to do that will make you happy. You've come to the understanding that what you're doing isn't working, and you've understood clearly, or maybe you've even pinpointed what it is that's not working. So now you can go out and inform yourself about the other options that you can have, the other options that would make you happier. And so communication is really key. You want to network, you want to ask questions, you want to be proactive, you want to send out your CV, your resume, your documents, or do any other exchanges or interactions or communications that can inform your next move. This is a very active line, and it involves other people. It involves you seeking answers. Proactivity is going to be really key for you. You really need to get out of your stuckness and to get out there to start finding out what is going to work for you. You need to ask questions. Another important tip and clue that's coming through this line is maybe you don't have all the answers about how you should turn the situation around, but that's actually all the more reason why you need to get out there and find out. Find out, what can you do? What are the opportunities? Maybe volunteer. Maybe shadow some people on the job. You're interested in what they're doing. Go shadow them. See if you can do that. It's a very active line, and it can bring a lot of opportunity. If you would just take the trouble to do your thinking and then go out and ask questions and seek interaction that can help you come to better conclusions. Maybe you have a product. Maybe there's something you want to do. You want to go out and sell it. Find out. You need to be out there. Beautiful. These are some amazing, very realistic, very tangible. Now let's move into the columns. We've got the lily bird. Yes, I can see a bit of stress about your career. And the book and rider has to do with you're not sure where you're heading, what direction, but this is what you need to research. You need to get into this. You need to think about this. The clouds and garden can mean some complications in your environment or where you are right now. Maybe you're shy. Maybe you are anxious about being in a bigger group or going out there, and maybe that's something that you need to resolve in order to move on to the next level. The heart and letter is a very beautiful set of cards here. It has to do with positive messages and probably happy news that fulfills a wish. So it's in your cards. You can turn this around, but you have quite a bit of groundwork to do. And you know what? The process can be really enjoyable. If you're willing, the process can be really enjoyable. So we're going to look into the portraits, and remember, self-discovery. Self-discovery is what life is about. Awesome. This mini portrait here on the left-hand side, we've got the lily, mouse, and rider. Yes, we can see, and it's in the past or the earlier phases of the hourglass. You feel like you're not really going anywhere. It feels like a dead end where you are right now, financially and in your career. It feels like a dead end. And then we've got the bird, mouse, and book. Another combination that suggests that you're not sure what to do. And I do think that it's possible that you have knowledge gaps or you have skill gaps, and that this could be an opportunity to close them so that you can welcome more opportunities into your life. And the bird can mean that you're aware of that, but that you've been, stressed about what to do about it. Well, you know what? Just start somewhere. Pick up a book, ask someone a question, look up inspiration, and get some, tidbits to get you started, and then it's going to accumulate into something more solid. And then from there, you'll know what to do with confidence, and you'll be able to turn everything around. It's really just one step. So keep this in mind. Be aware that where you're at right now is not really going anywhere, and that you have some knowledge, some experience that you need to acquire, and you want to really tackle that next. Now, the central mini portrait, we've got the coffin in it, we've got the book, coffin, and garden, and then we've got the rider, coffin, and cloud. Similar messages are coming through. The book, coffin, and garden has to do with, ending a certain situation. It can also mean that you want to take a step back. It can mean that you need perspective, okay? You need to remove yourself from where you're at. Try to see yourself a little bit more objectively, and to see your situation, your career, your finances a bit more objectively, and research the facts. The book is telling you to research the facts. The line can also be telling you that this current situation or circumstance at some point has to end because it's not really going anywhere. I mean, we are getting the sense of the dead end situation coming through. And similarly, the rider, coffin, and clouds, this is a powerful line, because when we see the coffin on the other side of the rider, so the coffin coming after the rider, this has to do with, just not going anywhere, because the rider is about movement, but then there's the coffin. It's like you're not going anywhere. Like you're moving, maybe. You're doing figure eights. You're not really achieving anything. You're not really going anywhere. And again, the clouds tells me that you're aware of that. You know that something isn't working. Something that you're doing isn't working. You have to really stop and examine this so that you get a clear understanding of what you need to do to put yourself back on a path that is fruitful. And you find it. The ship is a prosperous card. I'm so happy to see it in this layout, and I'm so happy to see it in this side of the hourglass. The ship is all about your ship coming in, as they say, or as they used to say. It's about your abundance, your prosperity, returns on investments. So the clouds, ship, and letter. Yes, you're still in the stage where you're not sure if you're going to be heading in the right direction and so on, but you need to get going. So once you've done all of this work, you're going to get going. And when you start, you're not going to know everything, but that's okay, because you would have known how to communicate. You would have become a lot crisper in your clarity in your mind and in your communication. So you're going to adjust as you go. You're going to know what to do as you go. And then we've got the garden, ship, and heart. And guess what? This is a beautiful line to wrap up the hourglass, because you are going to set sail in a context or an environment that's going to make you happy. And you could even bring in a lot more prosperity. You might find yourself investing, buying property. These are possible from the ship and garden. If you aren't already, you're going to discover ways of doing this in smarter ways. You're going to get a lot of momentum. So, there's a bit of a drag here and nothing going on here, and the coffin being stuck. And then we have the ship. So it's like, you make these realizations, you do this personal work, you learn, you close your gaps, and then it's like something unleashes you, and you have that newfound sense of freedom and enthusiasm, and you're going to feel fulfilled. So this is such a beautiful hourglass. It is so nice to see, how realistic it is and how promising it is all at the same time. I'm really excited about this one. So I hope you like the messages. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'd really love to hear them. I hope you're as enthusiastic about it as I am, and make the best of it, and the journey is really what matters. I mean, this can be a really beautiful process of self-discovery. So focus on that as well. So before I let you go, just a quick reminder that I've got plenty of links for you in the description box, everything from learning to using the cards in private readings and things like that. So be sure to check it out, and I am looking forward to our next Pick-A-Card reading together. Thank you so much for watching. All right, welcome to the Serpentine group. For this group, we are going to do an augmented line of 7. So my deck is shuffled, and I'm just gonna shuffle it a little bit more. I'm going to fan the deck and select the cards. All right, Serpentine group. Now this is a powerful line that I am seeing here, mainly because of the scythe right in the middle of your augmented line of 7. And I'm really happy to see the lily again in the draw. So far, the first 3 readings have included the lily, which is really aligned with the question that we're asking, which is about your financial and career success. What is the key to your financial and career success? And right in the middle, we are seeing the scythe. Now, what I think is coming through this line, I think this is about going in business for yourself and quitting the job. I'm gonna say it bluntly. I'm not saying how you do it. I'm saying that seems to be what you're going to be doing. That's really interesting. And the reason I say that is because we've got the ship on one side and we've got the fox on the other side. The ship is more about business and commercial transactions. It's much more dynamic and independent. And the fox is about 9-to-5 employment. And there's also the ring here, and we see the ring on the other side of the scythe. So my first impression is that you're gonna kick off some kind of business venture for yourself, and then you'll be able to quit the job. And this is what's gonna set you on a beautiful career, financial prosperity path. That's a possibility. So let's break down this augmented line of 7 and build the picture, because there's quite a few things to read, not just these 2 lines. So we start off the line with the lily, clover, and ship. The lily, clover, and ship is a beautiful combination suggesting business and adventure, possibly travel, and the idea of really broadening your horizons. So this is about pursuing a career that makes you happy, and it's about really taking some ambitious moves forward. Now, the ship is about sales and trading, import, export, and returns on investment. So it can be about a business. It's very much about a business. And next to the lily, we are looking at, making that part of your career. So if there are activities or, commercial activities that you do, maybe now on the side, or maybe that you've been wanting to do, the clover is clearly telling you that you need to do them. You really need to do them. You really need to explore what you can do. And it is very promising. And then we've got the scythe and then the fox, ring, and woman. So it seems that this venture of yours is going to kick off, and this is going to enable you to change the job thing. I mean, I think it's really about quitting the job. I think it's pretty clear when you have the scythe and ring next to each other. And the fox is the card of jobs. And the woman in this line can mean anyone, really. She can represent you if you're the woman in the line, but she can also represent anyone with whom you are currently connected, currently involved. And it's really releasing yourself from this situation once you have what it takes to do that. Now, the reason I say that is because there's a progression in the line. We start with this venture here, and then we see the separation coming through. So it seems to be that the way you do it is that you first explore the possibilities, and you do it and you get it up and running. And obviously you're able to be independent, and then you can either quit the job or make some radical changes around how you currently work. And the woman seems to be in this picture. Now, I need to really highlight this and not rule it out, because it's also pretty loud in the lines. This can represent a marriage. It can represent a relationship. And there's also the heart in the column. And when we see the scythe and the ring, this can represent a separation or a divorce or some kind of radical change in the relationship that sets you free in order to pursue your financial prosperity and your career success. It could be that there is a relationship, even if it's not a job relationship or a professional relationship. I mean, it can be an intimate relationship. There could be such a relationship in your life that is really limiting your options. And if that's the case, then we are clearly seeing a separation from this and an ability after that to set yourself free. So this is a pretty powerful augmented line of 7 for you. It's a pretty powerful message. This is what could be happening. But remember the clover in this line. The clover is an all-around protection card. It has to do with wish fulfillment. It's a bit like the star. So you can trust that you need to make a big change. How soon, how you do it, that's going to come down to your details. But you want to really embrace your potential as much as possible. Explore. And if there are limiting situations, limiting relationships, I think you're going to have to make the break. And we see here, we've got the garden, scythe, and heart. A very powerful message of separation. This is the breakup of a group, the breakup of an environment. And the scythe and heart is usually about heartbreak. If I didn't see the clover in the line, this would have been pretty dramatic, pretty challenging. But we do have the clover in the line. And maybe this is a challenging turning point for you. But you need to trust that you need to shake things up a bit radically in order to bring out your potential for financial and career success. You're currently in a limiting situation, it seems, and you need to break out of it. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it is not easy with others. You might be heartbroken through this transition. You might break some hearts through this transition, but this is what's going to set you free. And this is what's going to enable you to attract this prosperity. So a challenging set of cards, but also really promising, requires a lot of courage. But I'm not saying you need to rush into this. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying first you need to explore, and you really need to give yourself a chance to explore. You really need to give your soul, your ambitions, a bit of room so that you can build on that and see that what you can do can make you a really good living. It can make you a really happy career. And you need to get real about what is limiting you, whether that's a relationship or a current job. And you can deal with all of it in time, but it's really becoming aware of a radical change that needs to happen. So really do some thinking about this. If you haven't yet, I think you already know, but do some more thinking about this. Now let's look at the diamonds. We've got the ship, garden, fox, and heart. Clearly we are looking at moving into a different role, moving into a role that makes you happy, seeking adventure and exploring different places that are going to make you happy. This is what we're seeing through, the garden and fox is about the job, and the heart and ship is about, really going after what you want, after what you love. You need to give yourself a chance to explore different situations, or else how are you going to know? And then we've got the clover, garden, ring, and heart. Now this is a beautiful combination of a wonderful relationship, a wonderful new involvement. So this is really promising. If you're going to separate from something, you're going to move into something else. One door closes, another one opens. Still, do the groundwork first. Explore what you can do before you make any radical changes. And I say that not because I'm worried, but because this is what the progression looks like. We see from the earlier phases of the line into the later ones. First, you need to know what you can do before you make a radical change, a radical separation. And we do see that you end up in a happy involvement. And this could be a happy relationship as well. So if your prosperity or your career success is somehow tied to your relationships, then we can look at something really promising ahead for you. Really, in any context, it's a beautiful set of cards. And then we've got the Lily, Garden, Woman, and Heart. Now this is nice to see because the Lily is about the longer term, things unfolding over the longer term. And then we've got the Heart and Woman here. So if there was a radical change in relation to this woman, or if you've had to part from this situation, this involvement, this relationship, this job, in time, people are going to understand. The other person is going to understand why you did this. You might have more support than you feel you have right now. That's possible. So pursue what makes sense to you, because it seems that things fall into place once you do. It might seem like the change is complicated or too radical or too extreme, but it's not. You need to change in order to attract new financial prosperity, greater career success. And in order to do that, you have to give yourself some chances to explore. You need room to explore. And people are going to understand that. So this is really an encouraging augmented line of 7. This is very much a more adventurous approach to attracting more prosperity, to having a more fulfilling career. The secret is that you really need to give yourself room to explore your potential and experiment. Give yourself some time to experiment. See what works, what doesn't work, what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy. And once you land on it and you've kicked off and you feel you've set sail and you feel this is it, then you can make these radical changes in your life. And that's only going to bring you more prosperity and more happiness. This is such a beautiful line of 7. I'm so happy to see it. I really want to hear your comments about this. Let me know where you feel this is playing out for you, like in what ways you think this can materialize for you. Leave me some comments. I'd love to read them. Before I let you go, I just want to refer you to the links in the description box. I've got plenty to learn Lenormand and to take advantage of it through private readings if you like. Check out the links, and I am so looking forward to our next Pick-A-Card reading together. Thank you so much for watching. All right, here we are with the Rose Quartz group, and for this group I am going to draw a medium diamond so that we explore what is the secret to your financial and career success. Now my deck is shuffled. I'm just going to shuffle it a little bit more, and I am going to deal the medium diamond. Here we go. Now this is a very, very beautiful diamond. What I'm seeing here, the key right in the middle of the diamond, the whole diamond, and we've got the star. This is by itself a very promising combination of cards, and we are seeing some changes, possibly some big ones, possibly involving travel and movements here, and we are seeing the dog at the top. So let's start reading this diamond by weaving the lines together, and then we'll put the whole picture together. In the central line, the key line of the diamond, we've got the mountain, the key, and the star. Now the mountain is the card of places abroad. It can also be the card of obstacles. But if this has to do with a place abroad, you might find your answer, the key to your success, by traveling, by possibly even moving. Maybe your opportunities are abroad. Perhaps you have connections abroad or some kind of foothold abroad. You want to tap into that in order to manifest a greater fulfillment in your career, more financial prosperity. That is definitely a key. Now, if the mountain is about an obstacle, we certainly see that you are going to be able to overcome it. We've got the mountain and then the key and the star, and these are very powerful wish fulfillment cards, healing cards, unlocking potential. It's beautiful. Whatever this issue is, you're going to overcome it. I would even say possibly easily. That is possible. Now we move to the column. We've got the dog, key, and bird. Now this is really interesting and very straightforward. You have a friend whom you need to ask questions to, and they're going to be helpful. You might want to pick their brain or have a conversation with them. They might offer you a key, and the way they do that is through some kind of conversation. So if there is a person in your life, possibly a colleague, someone you trust, you might want to tap into them for some ideas. They might have ideas for you. And it's also possible that they have to do with this place abroad. And the reason I say that is because the bird is a travel card, and we're going to see it in this side of the diamond when we get to it. And so maybe you have someone abroad or a friend abroad who can help you with the next opportunity. That is very, very possible. Otherwise, this is someone who can help, who can give you ideas about what you can do to attract more prosperity and more career success. And we see this is going to work for you because the key is right in the middle of this whole diamond. And another interesting possibility is that you could be looking at a partnership. So if you're in business with yourself, or you're looking to undertake some kind of venture of this sort, then there could be someone whom you pair up with for this purpose, and it could prove to be really, really fruitful. I would only say in this case that you want to flesh everything out. With the key and bird, you want to make sure you are on the same page on everything. Partnerships can be tricky. So you need to have an honest, thorough, really detailed and insightful conversation so that you're on the same page, you agree on the same things, and you are really convinced that this is the right partnership for you for this venture. Otherwise, the cards are really, really exciting. Now, let's move into the square here. We've got the clouds, the rider, and the stork and bear. Now, the clouds can be a bit of a tricky card, but because there are so many positive cards around there, I don't think it's much of an issue. The clouds is really about thinking, brainstorming, as we see next to the key here. The key and clouds in my dictionary has to do with brainstorming and thinking up solutions. And the stork in this line enables you to actually find the solutions, and you kick off and you move forward. And we see this here as well, the rider, stork, bear, and clouds. This is a very active set of cards. This is really about thinking, but not thinking too long, because you need to take steps and you need to move forward, and you are probably going to take big steps. The bear and stork has to do with big changes, and with the rider here, it's about big steps. We've got the bear, key, and rider. This can indicate a promotion, a next level, step up. It's really unlocking potential, and it's very powerful and it's very positive. The bear is also the card of wealth. It is the card of the millionaire. So you can look forward to a much higher level of prosperity than you might have thought possible for you. But you really need to tap into yourself and, be resourceful. Explore beyond borders. Explore beyond your current limitations. Tap into connections. Tap into people. And once you've gathered what you need to, you really need to step up and move forward. I have the impression that you already are on this path, that you already know what you need to do. It's really just about taking the steps. If you'd been stalling, and maybe you hadn't, but if you had been, then you need to get going, my friend, because there's a lot waiting for you and you don't want to waste time. So this is a very powerful set of cards here. I would only say the clouds invite you to think thoroughly about this. If this is a partnership, if this is an opportunity that you're pursuing, maybe an investment that you're after, you're taking these big steps, but you really need to think about it. And that's actually all the reason more why you want to think about it thoroughly. Super. Let's move into the diamond. We've got the dog, rider, and star. This is a beautiful combination. You've got the right goals in mind. You've got the right ambitions. And even if you're still a junior, or you're still taking steps, or if it's still the earlier phases, you are heading in the right direction. You really need to pursue this. And I would say maybe a bit more aggressively or with a bit more energy. We've got the star, stork, and bird. Again, these are travel cards. Like we said earlier, the mountain, bird, and stork, and rider on top of that. They're all movement cards. They're all travel cards. You might need to travel. If you have an opportunity to do that, I would say definitely do that. The star is very, very positive, and we saw the key on top of the bird. So explore these options and, take the trouble to go and see what's going on over there. And it's also about asking questions. The bird is very vocal, and the stork is very active, and the rider is a messenger, and the dog is a friend. There's lots of communication cards here and interaction cards. So ask questions, seek answers. The key is all about finding solutions. Don't stay stuck, don't stall, don't waste time, don't wait. Open your mouth and ask questions. Have conversations, verbalize your intentions in one way or another. This is the time. And then we've got the bird, bear, and mountain. Again, this can mean a trip abroad. The bear and mountain can refer to a foothold abroad or living abroad, possibly someone that you know who lives abroad as well. And so you need to take a trip. You might even make the move. Maybe your prosperity and your success at the next level is about moving abroad, or it involves having you move abroad because the opportunity is there for you. That's really possible. If not, maybe you have a connection abroad who can help out. That's also possible. And again, if this isn't about travel for you, then we see the mountain as some kind of obstacle, and also the fact that there's a clouds on the other side of it. But you know what? The bear is a very powerful card. And then on top of that, we've got the key in the center and the star on the far right of your diamond. So we are looking at some very powerful solutions coming in for you. Great successes at your right in your cards and right down the line for you, really, if you pursue it. It's just really active. It seems that there's a lot that you need to take care of, a lot that you need to do in order to attract that. So, go ahead, ask the questions, flesh things out with this person, with this either a partner or the support that you're getting, and then be ready to just, switch on the car and, get going. This is a very powerful set of cards that have to do with a lot of movement and dynamism. So any way you look at these cards, really financial success and career fulfillment are in the cards for you. It involves some travel, it involves a lot of interaction, fine, but once you do that, you'll be able to unlock your potential, and you are so going to be happy with the results. I mean, the star is a wish fulfillment card right here on the right side of your diamond. So overall, a beautiful diamond. Very best of luck with this. I really hope you do what it takes to unlock your potential, because you are not going to regret. Before I let you go, I want to let you know that I have plenty of links for you in the description box. Check them out to learn about Lenormand or to get a private reading, as well as all sorts of resources for you to use. So thanks so much again for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to our next reading together. All right, here we are with the Carnelian group. And for this group, I am going to do a double line of 5. So I'm going to draw 10 cards, and I've shuffled my deck thoroughly. I want to deal the cards into the double line of 5. Remember, we are looking into the secrets for you for your financial success and your career success, prosperity, abundance. Let's do this. All right, a beautiful set of cards. And again, I'm happy to see the lily in the line here. I've got it almost in every layout that I drew for this question. It is the card of career. It is the card of the long-term goals. So it's very much aligned with the question that we're asking. So I've been really lucky with that. And that is really great to see. Obviously, we're seeing some really beautiful cards in your double line of 5 here, Carnelian. We are looking at the clover, the sun, very powerful cards, and the child and the tree here on the far right of your double line of 5. This is a beautiful layout. We have just one challenging card. We have the mouse. And what's interesting is that it figures right in the middle of the lines here. We've got the book and mouse, and this is going to point to the need to learn something in order to start this new venture that is indicated by the child and tree. So just from a bird's eye view, Carnelian group, this is a very positive line, double line of 5. Prosperity, abundance, and career fulfillment are in the cards for you. We're going to look at what you need to do in order to attract it. So let's start reading the rows. The 2 rows, we've got the lily, house, book, cross, and child in the top one. So the lily and house can refer to the job you're currently in, the business you're currently doing, the situation that you've been in for some time. And the book is a card of mystery. And on top of that, it comes with the cross, which has to do with spirituality, possibly the occult and things like that. And what's nice is that the child is right on the other side of the line. So what does that mean? It means you are going to move into something new. But what's interesting is that the book is a card of mystery. So you might not yet know what this looks like at all. You might not even think that you are wanting to move into something new, but actually a new beginning is in your cards. And what's also possible is that the lily and house can refer to investments, like property investments and other investments in assets. That's possible. And maybe this is something that you haven't done yet. Maybe this is something that you've shied out from doing, getting into investments, buying property and doing these things. And this is something that you might be interested in exploring, because it could set you on a new path towards your financial prosperity and even career fulfillment. I mean, some people do this as a full-time job, they flip properties and do things like that. And I'm not saying it's strictly properties, it can be other kinds of assets. The idea is that investment is something that you might be exploring at this stage. Now, the cross is a bit of a challenging card. Sometimes it is burdensome in the sense that, it comes from the Christian archetype of bearing one's cross. That's possible. So when I see the cross in such a line, it has to do with making these decisions and taking these decisions seriously. So we see it on the other side of the book, and the book is a card of research, a card of knowledge, and so when we see them together, it is really about taking seriously this path of yours and possibly getting more serious about it. And what's interesting is that the lily in the line, the lily is the card of maturing, it's the card of older people, it's the card of retirement. So this line could be really about growing up and getting more serious about these questions. It can be about going as far as securing your future and your retirement, getting into your retirement plan. Because what happens is that when you work backwards from your goals, it really changes, or it can really change how you do things, right? So you might want to start with the long-term ambition or the long-term goal that you have for yourself, and then work backwards into the present so that it informs what you need to do now in order to achieve what you say you want. And we are looking at your financial and career prosperity here. So a lot of things can come through this powerful top line here. And the book can be about knowledge. It can be about learning. And when I see it next to the house, it can be a classroom. And also next to the lily, maybe this is all the way university or college or, something of that level. If you're looking to make a change like that, then this could be something that helps you for the future, for your career success and your financial prosperity. So it is a time for seeking, searching, finding, exploring, and going within, thinking about these big questions for yourself, thinking about what it is you want, that is, and we're looking at important things, right? We're not just looking at the day-to-day stuff. I mean, this is a line that really brings up this longer term sense of steadiness, what you're building through the house for the long term, what is going to help you establish the foundations of security and career happiness. These are all being reflected through this line of 5. And isn't it amazing? I mean, you look at these cards and you're like, well, nothing's going on here. They're sort of boring cards. They're not like the clover. They're not like the sun. But then you get into it, and you start to chew over the possibilities, and you come up with all of these amazing insights. So very powerful indications coming through here. Beautiful. Let's move on to the bottom line. This is a very beautiful line because of the clover and the sun, but then we have the mouse right in the middle. So woman, clover, mouse, sun, and tree. So the woman in clover, obviously a very positive combination regards a relationship, but it can also represent you if you are the woman in the line. And it is really positive because of the clover. But then we see the mouse, and then we see the sun again. So there seems to be a relationship here that affects your prosperity, your career potential, your success in this regard. And there could be something that's holding you back. Maybe someone that had been draining you. But, because of the clover and the sun, and then the beautiful tree after that, I really think the issue is much smaller than you might think it is. If there is a situation that you feel is holding you back with regards to your career and your financial prosperity, I really think that this is smaller and much more easily resolved than you had initially thought. So I really want to encourage you to think more broadly about this and to really get over any negativity that you have. It's really not worth your time. Let's just put it that way. It's not worth your time. If you're dwelling on anything negative, whether it has to do with a relationship or not, it's not worth your time. There's many more exciting opportunities ahead for you, so don't dwell on this at all. And then it's also possible to see this woman as someone really supportive, someone who enables you to, get over whatever this limitation is, this mouse in your context, and bloom. We're looking at the sun and tree. This is blooming. This is growth. This is abundance in every possible way. This is such a beautiful line. Look, don't get stuck. Get over it. Move on. You're wasting time. You have so much waiting for you. So a very, very beautiful line, very promising. Now let's get into the columns here. We've got the lily and the woman. That's interesting. This can represent someone older. She can be a mother, a parent. She can be a boss. She could be someone who is older, more experienced. And so she seems to be reliable in the sense that, she's mature, she's experienced. You can maybe have her give you insight, or she supports you in one way or another with your career moves here. So tell me in the comments where you think this person can come in and be supportive. And then we've got the house and clover. Now this is really beautiful for your home life, for your investments, like we said, or we suggested. Really your home life and what you're building is very lucky. It's very prosperous. In the very least, you have that potential. Now it's really just the book and mouse that is an obstacle. And what's nice is that it's in the middle of the double line of 5, right? It is right in the middle, which means that it is the turning point for you in the next phase. It is what you need to really work on in order to attract all of this beautiful prosperity coming here. So the book and mouse is usually about not having all the facts, having knowledge gaps. It can also be that you are ignorant about certain facts. Maybe you're not yet aware about certain things. So the mouse and book are really inviting you to get into this and to really give yourself time to figure out certain things. And what's interesting is that they're both detail-oriented cards. So it's really possible that for you, it's in the details. For you, it's really taking the time of getting into the details in order to figure this out, in order to bring out into your life, that next level of prosperity and manifestation. If you need to learn something, you need to educate yourself, you need to take the time to do this. Maybe you'll feel like it's a drag, the mouse is a bit of a drag, and if we took the diagonal here, mouse and cross, you might feel like you're not in the mood for this, you're not in the mood for learning. But you know what, just bear with it a little bit and you're going to be good to go. It is going to pay off. As we see here, the cross and sun is a beautiful combination. The cross and sun can have to do with matters of enlightenment and a deep sense of spirituality that delivers a lot of alignment and, a lot of spiritual alignment in your life. Of course, it's all around success. And of course, you're going to feel like this was worth it. You're going to grow, even if it was a bit painful, you're going to grow and you're going to learn. You're going to be that next level person who is, experienced and, who's been through it, who's been there and done that and is just on top of it now. And then we've got the child and tree. I mean, this is a no-brainer. This is a very beautiful message. Child and tree is a beautiful new beginning that blooms into something wonderful. And again, the tree being a longer-term card, we are again seeing the longer term. If we took the corner cards here, we are looking at the longer term, and what you're building is really for the long-term future. So you are turning a situation. You already have lots of assets to your disposal. You already have lots of good things going on for you. It's just a little thing here that you need to take care of. You turn this around and you set sail in a new phase that brings you up to that next level in your financial success and your career prosperity. So just take the trouble to do some learning. Take the trouble to research this and to understand it well, and you're just going to grow. This is going to work. This is beautiful. All right. Now, before we wrap up, I just want to pick up a few diagonals. There's so many of them, and there's so many different ways of weaving them. You could do like a whole line here, and you can take them individually, but let's take the whole line since we're doing an overall weaving thing to wrap up this reading. The lily, clover, book, sun, child. This is very beautiful, and it looks like you could be moving into a new career. This is possible, and I say that because We've got the lily, clover, and book, something new, and then the child as well, sun and book. So it looks like this learning phase, or when you get into the information or the details, this opens the door for you to move into a new career. It's possible that you change what you do in order to attract the next level of prosperity. And then the second one, we've got the woman, house, mouse, cross, and tree. Now this is a bit more interesting because it's bringing something new to the reading. The house and woman, and then the house and mouse can have to do with some issues that you have in the home front. Perhaps you are in a relationship that could be a little bit limiting, or perhaps you need to restructure a little bit how you live, how you do things in your life in order to bring about this new beginning. There could be an adjustment period, and this might not be easy, especially in view of the fact that the mouse is right in the middle, and then it's followed by the cross as we saw in the diagonal. But in time, it grows. So keep the faith when you're doing this change. This is going to lead to this positive growth that we're seeing here. And remember, the clover and the sun are both in your double line of 5, and on the far right of your double line we've got the child and the tree. So prosperity, career fulfillment are in the cards for you. Another beautiful set of cards. All of these 5 readings that I did today, they were so aligned, and we got the lily a lot of the time. A beautiful set of cards. So again, best of luck with this. I wish you all the best with this. Leave me some comments. I'd really love to read them, and I'm so looking forward to them. And before I let you go, I remind you always to check the links in the description box. I am one of the few people who really focus on Lenormand, so I have all sorts of resources, learning resources for it. Of course, I offer private readings as well. So thank you so much again for tuning into this Pick-A-Card reading. Very best of luck with it, and I am so looking forward to our next one together. Thank you so much for watching.